Okay, now we're going to turn this short leg cast into a long leg cast. There's a couple different ways you can do this. You can actually turn a cylinder cast into a long leg cast by adding the foot, or you can turn your short leg cast into a long leg cast. It kind of depends on the injury. You typically want to capture the fracture first. So if this was a distal tibia or an ankle fracture or a midshaft tibia, I would go ahead and roll a short leg cast first and extend it up. If I was dealing with a pediatric patient, I would do it all in one piece. A lot of people lay people down to do this cast. I definitely would do that at times. It just makes it easy for you guys, for me to videotape, to do it with her standing. The other thing you have to be aware of, is this a non-weight bearing cast or a weight bearing cast? A non-weight bearing long leg cast typically would have at least or a minimum of a 30-degree bend, although I've had to do more to keep patients from walking on it. All my adult long leg casts will be done in 2 stages, meaning I either did a cylinder first or a short leg first and then extended either one to a long leg cast. Your parameters for this are going to be the metatarsal heads, all the way up to 2 to 3 finger widths from the groin, and angle it towards the greater troch. And my padding always goes higher than the actual cast, and you pad a little bit more around the borders. So right now I have 2 layers of padding. I'm going down with a 1/3, and then I hit the patella just a little bit more. That's the only bony prominence you got to worry about here. The other thing you want to watch and keep in line, now that you're doing a long leg cast, you can control rotation. So you want to make sure that you have second toe, mid patella, and ASIS all in line. So we're going to rotate her just a little bit. Perfect. Anytime you add on to a cast or extend the cast, you always must start with the amount of fiberglass. So if I'm using a 4-inch roll of fiberglass, I have to at least start with a 4-inch roll or a 4-inch wrap on the cast that's already existing. And I'll show you what I mean. So since I'm using a 4-inch roll, I actually start with a 4-inch wrap or roll on the cast that's rigid already, and then work my way back up. I like to do a short leg cast first and then turn it into a long leg versus a cylinder, just because it's easier to get 90 degrees at the ankle. And with a cylinder, a lot of times you can't bend the knee that much. Make sure I finish off down here. Now I just have a money roll left to do. Make sure my transition between the 2 casts, I try not to get any ridges. Don't pull back so hard. If you pull your stockinette real hard, you'll get a fold in your fiberglass as well, and you don't want to do that. My last roll, I try to make it the whole length of the cast. My money roll, you know the knee is going to be a weak spot. And if you can't, don't worry about it. If it doesn't get there, it doesn't get there. She has a small leg, so it makes it easy. Again, I'll leave her on the stand for this just because it holds it, or at least take her off for a moment and get the fiberglass to lay smooth. And if that's going to fight me and not lay right, I just cut it off. to struggle. So I tuck down both my stockinette edges of the cast. I started with a 4-inch roll, wrapped my way back up, and then came all the way down and overlapped the whole cast with the money roll. You can treat distal femur fractures, mid-shaft tibia, proximal tibias, tibial plateau fractures, some ankle fractures. Again, want to watch second toe, mid-patella ASIS. Make sure all those stay in a line. There are no real molds that you need to put in, besides just a generalized molding of the cast. And that's pretty nice. Make your transition nice and smooth. Long leg, non-weight bearing cast. Now if I was going to make a weight bearing cast, long leg weight bearing, you would just make the knee about 10 to 15 degrees versus 30 to 45 degrees of knee flexion for non-weight bearing. So this is a long leg, non-weight bearing cast.